Hello, welcome to this lesson. It is about analysis of poems. Now, we're going to use figurative language or figures of speech to analyze poems. We will first define the figures of speech we have before we tackle a poem in the next lesson. Now, figurative language is a language that represents one thing by terms of another thing. We describe an action or feeling by comparing it to something else. For example, my leg felt swollen like a barrel. In this example, we are comparing a barrel to the swollen leg. Now, simile. Simile is like a metaphor except that it uses words like, and as. This word like and as in comparing otherwise dissimilar things. A simile is a direct, covert comparison. A metaphor, on the other hand, is a figurative figure of speech that compares two unlike things without using like and as. It is an indirect covert, meaning we've said that the simile is a direct covert comparison, while the metaphor is indirect covert comparison. Now, a metaphor can be direct or implied. When a metaphor is direct, or when we have a direct metaphor, it directly compares two things by use of the verb is. For example, the city is a sleeping woman. We are comparing the city to a woman, while an implied metaphor, on the other hand, suggests comparison of two things, but in this case, we do not use the verb is. For example, the city sleeps peacefully. We have compared the city and sleeping peacefully, and so we have not used the verb is. Now, we have an example of a metaphor here. My head is a disorganized file cabinet. We are comparing two things here, my head and a disorganized file cabinet. You will notice that we have used the verb is, and so in this case, this one is a direct metaphor, the first one. The second one, the dark night struggled the sun. We do not have the verb is in this metaphor, and so it is an implied metaphor. Now, personification. It is a special kind of metaphor in which a poet gives human qualities to something that is non-human, an animal, an object, or an idea. For example, the moon smiled on the happy couple as they drove their honeymoon in the countryside. Now, I can also give another example. The rain carried a lot of mud as it rolled down the valley. Now, the rain does not have hands, and so it has been personified by giving it qualities of human beings, like giving hands to make it carry a lot of mud. That is personification. Into symbolism. A symbol is an object that represents an idea. Light might symbolize hope of knowledge or life in some poems. Sunrise might symbolize a new beginning or hope. Water may symbolize life. When we have rain and food, then we have life. That is symbolism. We look at an allusion. An allusion is a reference to a well-known person, a reference to a place, thing, or an idea. It makes comparison between what is being spoken about and the one being referred to. For example, Kenya was colonized by Britain. We have that example. Kenya was colonized by Britain. The allusion to colonialism carries a lot of pain. It carries denial, exploitation, suffering, abuse of natives, abuse of human rights, and eventual struggle for freedom. That is allusion. Now, we also have exaggeration. Now, to exaggerate is to make something greater or minor than it is. And when we're talking about exaggeration, we usually have four parts. We have hyperbole, we have personification, understatement, and apostrophe. Now, when we're talking about hyperbole is something exaggerated or given more weight than it deserves. We give an example of a sentence. The baby's all-night scream were even heard in the neighboring village. You can think of many villages, one village is here, and we have many neighboring villages far apart. Now, it is not even true that a baby's scream can be heard even to the next village, and so even the neighboring villages heard the scream. That is exaggeration, that is hyperbole. We have given this baby's scream more weight than it deserves. Even the person in the neighboring houses could not even hear, and so the sentence was the baby's all-night scream were even heard in the neighboring villages. Now this we can call it hyperbole. Now, personification under the exaggeration. For example, we've given personification. It is where a special kind of metaphor where a poem gives human qualities to non-living things. For example, we've given this example. We have also given the example of the rain carried the mud as it rolled down the valley. That is personification. We have understatement under exaggeration. Now, understatement is the opposite of hyperbole, and usually something is stated in a lighter way than it should be. For example, you may say, the news about their death made me sad. That is understatement, the opposite of hyperbole. Now we have apostrophe under exaggeration, and is exaggeration imagery where dead or absent people or non-living objects are addressed as if they are alive and they would respond. They cannot even respond, and so that is what we call apostrophe. We have another figurative language, paradox. Now, paradox in poems is a statement that is absurd, and it is usually contradictory and cannot be literally true, or it cannot literally happen. Now, you even heard of people say, to find yourself, you must lose yourself. This is not even true. You cannot lose yourself. And so it is absurd. And so paradox is a statement that is absurd, contradictory, and cannot literally happen. You cannot lose yourself. Now, those are a few things we need to know when analyzing poems. I hope this helps you to improve on your poetry. See you in the next one.